LucidPress and editing the templates and walking through some of the more detailed areas of editing those. So to start off, let's go ahead and select one of our invitations. We're going to double click it to open it up. We're going to name it. Let's go ahead and name it Test for the sake of this video. Always make sure that whatever you're working on is saved to your documents, and we're going to hit Create Document. Once the document has opened up, you might notice there's some weird stuff going on in here, like how the text is showing as dark and we have these red squares. Sometimes LucidPress doesn't auto-populate perfectly, so I'm going to show you how to open those areas up and edit this content, just so that if you run into something like this, you can get around it. So we're going to press this plus button, and that automatically opens up this text. And then we'll also do the same thing for this one. Now you can see that we're having issues with text not displaying correctly. You can click on the text and move it around, but I want to get this charity ball moved out of the way. So I'm going to select the ball, move it down, and then I'm going to select charity and move that one as well. So real quick, we're just going to move stuff around a little bit, get it kind of where we want it. And we can't read any of this text because it's dark on dark. So I'm going to select this one, and we're going to highlight this text and go over here. In this menu, you can really go in and do a lot of detailed things to the fonts on the page. So right now we're going to select this dark color, and we're going to just change it to be this light color so it's easier to read. In here, we can double click to enter into the text area, and we can highlight this and just rename it whatever we want. We can say, welcome to Bishop. And from here, we can go in. If you do that, you can move it around, but you can see that there's some grid guides that kind of lock it in place. Try to kind of keep the orientation as you're working in it so it doesn't seem like a mess, but you can kind of work with it a little bit more. So you can go in here and just highlight stuff. Maybe you don't want that part to be bold. You can make it italic if you want. You can even go in here and change the font. So this could be something like a contrasting, just to give it a little bit of change. However, if you get a little too wild with this, we might have to make sure that you're using our brand fonts. So always make sure that it looks good whenever you're going in here messing with things. If you notice our text is currently stacked, we might want this to go in a line, so what we'll have to do is move it over to the side to where our plus becomes an arrow, and we're going to click down to grab that edge, and we're just going to pull that across. This will allow you to type text in a line, but if you want it stacked, you can just do the same thing to move it back. This also applies to images, but we'll look at images in a bit. Then there's also stuff in here where you can left align center. You can move it up, move it down. You can go in and change paragraph styles. You can put in bulleted lists, spacing. Really, you can get as detailed in here as you want. But, you know, we also have some other text that we need to clean up. So let's go ahead and make this stuff legible. And if you click on this, you'll notice these are our brand colors. We've got our brand fonts first and foremost, but you can select any of these different colors. Just make sure that they're contrasting so they're ADA compliant. For this, maybe we'll use our brand yellow, just to kind of make it pop a little bit. And then you can go in here and change these colors. Usually you won't have to change the colors and all this stuff, but sometimes LucidPress does not auto-populate things correctly, so you might have to go in and play around. If we notice our June 17th is not aligned well, so what you can do is you can just click on this, click in the text box. You can center things, move it so that it's not stacked quite so close. Move 2023. We can also center that. And if you wanted 2023 to be bold, you could come over here and just select that. Just kind of play with it a little bit. And then like areas for you to fill in things like the address, the date, when it is. And There's also other areas, like this is an image that's being used. We just click on it, we'll see that we get some image options here. You can scale it to fit, you can make it centered, you can put some effects, you can crop it, you can put a border, shadow, whatever you want to do. But if you want to swap this image out with, like, say, a charity ball or a pin ceremony, you can click on the actual image itself, and it'll give you an area where you can access your image library. So if you had your own photograph that you uploaded, or you can choose to upload here, you can swap that out. Let's just go ahead and upload something from my computer. And we'll just grab something that's from AMTC, since there's always a lot of those images on hand. If I can find one. Let's just go into photography and grab something. So you can literally take images from your computer and upload them to your own image library on LucidPress. And then they'll be stored in this library for you to grab at any point in time. This one did not upload. It's probably because it was a TIFF, so it was too big of an image. I'll grab a JPEG this time. That's also something to think of as image formats. Usually JPEGs tend to work. So now that we've uploaded this, we'll go ahead and grab it, insert it, and that literally just replaces our picture there. And if you want to crop it, you can go in and use these tools to move it around. You can even click and use the arrows on your keyboard to move the image back and forth. And you can make it bigger and smaller by sliding this across. That just crops the image out a little bit. If you wanted to make it actually smaller, you would grab it from the corner and move it down and up. And it scales so you don't have to worry about your image getting distorted. So you could really make this image big and move it to where it's more centered. And I'm literally doing that with just adjusting these corners and the keys on my keyboard to move it back and forth. And you notice how it looks like a completely different picture after just swapping that around. If you notice that you don't like a change that you've made, there's always this back button here, or you can do Command or Control Z, and that is an undo button. So we've looked a little bit at the side column in text and images, but you also have some options up here too, where you can go in and make changes, you can resize things, you can even put in guidelines to kind of help you keep track of where your text is lined up. Like if you want everything to line up flat, you can go in here and add guidelines to kind of help you marginalize stuff. Then on this left side we have some other things. Like if you needed to add in text that didn't already exist on the page, you could click this and you could add in a heading, a subheading, or body text. And then you could grab it and move it around wherever. And then you have your options to go in and start tweaking it and changing things up. Then you also have shapes. So like if you wanted to maybe put a circle, put some text in it, you could grab a circle, move it around, you could put the colors in. We don't want anything for the border on this, so let's go ahead and, I guess white. That will get rid of the border, maybe. Let's change the fill. So now we have this green. I don't know how to get rid of the border. Oh, maybe this clear. Yeah, so if you hit the clear, it'll get rid of the border. And then you can take this and you can move your text in it. If you want to move the text forward, you might have to use a shortcut key, because I am not seeing a way to do it in here. You could go Command, Shift, and bracket. Oh. That was not the correct way to do it. But if you ever lose from working on a template, you can always go back and go to My Documents. And you can see that our test that we're working on is here. So you can double click it and open it back up. And it should have saved your progress. Now, in the event that the power goes out or something like that, you may not keep your changes, but if you accidentally click off of it, as you can see, it's kept what we were working on. So you have your image here, you have your text here. This will probably, yes, you can go to arrange, and this order should move things forward. So now we can put our text inside of this image. And you can do that with shapes, you can do that with images, you can do it with really whatever you're working on. And you can even add in new images by selecting this, and it'll show your images here. You can even go here and go look at brand images, and you'll see all of our logos and the bell tower, checkboxes, some little disclaimer stuff for our website, social media. You have a whole library that we'll probably be updating. And then there is also Unsplash. This is a place for stock photos. Typically with photos, we want to use our own Bishop State branded photos, so I would avoid Unsplash if possible. But anything that you upload to your own library you can use. And basically that is a quick overview. Most of your options are going to be here, you have some up here, and you can add things in this area. And as usual, whenever you're done working on something, you can always go File and Save. And you can even convert stuff that you've worked on to your own templates. Like if you arrange a bunch of circles and you might like how you've done that and you want to use that on future things, you can always go File, Convert to Template, and then it'll be saved in your own template folder. It won't be a brand template, but it will be something that you can access again later. And then as usual, once you go and save it, you can even click up here to request approval. And once we have given you approval on this document, you'll be able to download it to your computer, be able to print it off, you'll be able to send it off. But just make sure that you're sharing it with us as well so that we can get it to the actual printer. And I'm pretty sure LucidPress has options for tutorials. If that exists, it would probably be under account maybe. Maybe not. We will have to find a way for maybe documents. Nope, that's your own documents. Help Center might have some tutorial type stuff, but for the most part, if you're running into an issue, you can always reach back out to us and we can see if we can help you out. Looks like there are some things in here for like if you're having issues, you can search for tutorials and resources, and the way you get to that is under Help Center, which was in the bottom left. So if we click back here, you click on Help Center, that opens this up, and you can scroll down to tutorials and resources. And you can look up different things on like sharing, printing, comments, printers, smart fields, just about anything is here.